The debut of women's rugby in the 2016 Rio Olympics marked the pinnacle since females started playing the sport some 130 years ago. Since then, it's been gaining recognition here in Asia, in Japan and Thailand, which each have their own national teams. And while the world women's rugby competition table is still dominated by the West, Asian players are increasingly making their mark. Wong reports.
Some may be smaller in stature compared to their Western counterparts, but they make it up with their nimble moves.
We just need to expose these players to more higher level competitions. I think that's the main thing we need to focus on. And with the World Series traveling worldwide, the women's team's getting more exposures already.
The Hong Kong women's rugby team also gave great exposure to the sport when they beat Kazakhstan and clinched their first victory in the Melrose Claymores event held recently in the city. The event, organized as part of the renowned Rugby Sevens, is a competition featuring invitational teams.
Women's rugby is probably the fastest growing sport in the world right now, so it's definitely going to go way further, but I guess it's down to us to promote it and hopefully get more younger girls to come in and play the sport.
But there still remains a need for a mindset change within Asia towards women's professional rugby.
Compared to the Western country, it's different, still different, because rugby concern in Asia country is not a main sport. We see badminton, basketball, volleyball, table tennis, other sport is like a main sport, especially in Hong Kong as well.
The biggest issue for the women's game is it's always an afterthought, right? You speak to any organization, they build their programs, it's not driving the program, it's not the main focus point. China, Thailand, even Japan, right? To a certain extent, they have started to be deliberate and strategize about success in the women's game.
We're growing both in terms of what we do as elite level, where we're trying to play in more tournaments, qualify for bigger and better tournaments. We've seen women's tournaments now having their standalone windows, where perhaps they were played alongside the men's game. Now they're able to stand and have their own, like I said, competition window.
Women's rugby in Asia, unlike other sports, have not received as much attention for decades. So the women involved in the game today hope they can help contribute to that wave of change.
Women's rugby is not just a sport, but it's really a movement. And these women here are to dispel any kind of stereotypes you have about this particular sport. More importantly, it's also to show you that women's rugby is growing from strength to strength.
อยากให้คนไทยหรือว่าแฟนๆรักบี้หรือว่าแฟนๆทุกคนในประเทศไทยมาหันมาสนใจกีฬานี้ขึ้นเพราะว่าเราไปไกลกว่าที่ประเทศไทยจะรู้แล้วค่ะ
Their Western counterparts offered ringing endorsements to women's rugby in Asia.
Played a little bit in Japan as well in their club rugby, and just the amount of I suppose growth that they've had over the years, but they're awesome. They are extremely they fight, they've got so much spirit, and yeah, they make really good rugby players.
Women's rugby is growing the whole time, and I think more people are getting invested in it, more people are seeing what we can do and kind of how much talent there is within women's rugby and within women's sport.
As women's rugby continues to gain greater traction and more girls start choosing this sport at a young age, it's hoped the increased recognition and sponsorships will elevate this sport to its fullest potential. Wong, CNA, Hong Kong.